na po namin kayang tiisin ng pangyayaring ito.
I don't care what they want to do. Itong bansa natin na ito, lagi na lang itinatabi yung katotohanan, iproklama lang natin kahit na mali.
The elections are over, but some issues just refuse to go away, like allegations of cheating in favor of administration candidates. With us today is Pastor Boy Saicon of the Council on Philippine Affairs, who made a last-minute expose on alleged vote rigging in Quezon Province. Welcome to the show, Boy.
Thank you very much, Ted, and I like your Duterte look.
Well, it's never too soon to make sip-sip. A Muslim girl told me, a friend of mine, and said that her cousin was filling out blank ballots a day before, several days before the elections. I just accepted it. They're really angry with the results. But I said to myself, yeah, so what? So you fill up the ballots, but you try to insert that without my thumbprint, that can't vote for me. That's number one. Two, where did he get the paper? I know because I was one of the main authors of the automation law, and we insisted on the ultraviolet feature that means the machine will only accept Comelec paper. What was that story of hers?
Okay, let me confirm what your friend, Muslim friend, did. No? Because we have several certificates of affidavits, no? That indeed it happened. They came to the precinct at 7 o'clock in the morning. They looked at the box. It's all pre-shaded. Pre-shaded. So that means it was shaded somewhere else. And only 10% was left behind for the long queue of people wanting to vote. Now, one, that is already a violation.
Yeah, second is, that means that the pre-shaded ballots were Comelec paper ballots.
We really don't know. How
We
did
really
they?
don't know.
How did they get hold of a pre-shaded or a ballot that was pre-shaded somewhere else outside of the precinct?
Yes, but it doesn't matter because even if it is authentic or it is a copy, a Xerox copy of the ballot, won't the machine reject it because it doesn't have my thumbprint?
That was what the law says. There must be a thumb, and there must always be ultraviolet rays. So, but as I said, all of these were unilaterally taken away.
That's not what I really.
Yes, it's not there.
I wrote the law.
Yeah, as I said, many of what the provisions in the law says were never followed, including, remember, no, the auditable paper trail.
That's right. Yeah.
And it takes a petition, no, from the group like Gus Lagman to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to reinstall something that is already provided by law.
The receipts that Dick Gordon was able to get back in.
Yes.
I mean, in fact, it was insulting when they said, no, we don't want to issue receipts because the Filipino is a natural cheater. He sells his votes. I mean, come on, that's an insult from the Comelec.
That's an insult naman to the Filipino voters. Alam mo, Ted, you know, what we should do is provide everything that makes it credible so that people will not feel cheated. We have to stop this feeling of being cheated all the time.
These people who came forward, could you tell us a story how they approached you? Why did they approach you, of all people?
The Mindanao operation is totally different from the Luzon operation.
Okay.
The Luzon operation was an offshoot of, on a Sunday, somebody called me, no, and said that they have evidences about rigged cheating in Quezon Province. I said, if your basis is you saw it, you heard it, forget it. No? I need more credible witnesses. No, they said, no, sir, we are the ones operating the machine. What do you mean operating the machine? Are you operating from the precinct level? No, sir. We're operating from a building outside of all the precincts, and we are the center that collates all the votes of Quezon Province.
Where did you when you made this? You went public with this, right?
I went public.
You
with
said
it.
you would go to the Senate. Did the Senate
Yes.
receive you?
Yes, it's like this. No, when they went on a Sunday, I immediately called Senator Osmeña.
Okay.
because I know one
The
of the
number
authors.
6 guy who ended up number 13. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Anyway, without asking him that he lost because of this, but can you please take a look? No, because the law says that you cannot bypass. But the evidence being presented to me by this group is there is a bypass, an internal bypass, not an
You mean
external
they were
bypass.
able to intervene into the
system.
Into the system. Okay.
Into the system.
They hacked it, in other words.
They didn't
No,
hack it.
it's not hacked.
Because it's internal.
Oh, it wasn't hacked. It needed the cooperation
the
of...
cooperation of Comelec and Smartmatic.
Really?
Yeah, because they
Is
were,
it possible you don't need it? No. I don't know.
You know, when I asked them how many machines was in the building that were provided to your operation, they said more than 20 machines. I said, how many of you were there that were... Said, we were 9 of us trained by Smartmatic for 2 weeks. And I said, what are your work? I mean, we are government employees, sir. And we were recruited from the different departments of our office. And
Which
we were
office
trained.
is this?
The local government units of Quezon. And we were asked to secure, no? Sabi niya, the operation, in Lucena, in a building, a 4-story building, where they were asked also to help in the installation of the
Did they
equipment.
describe how they operate? I mean, let's
They
face
did,
it.
they did.
These are just... Well, maybe they're as not knowledgeable of IT operations as I am. Maybe they're just ordinary people like I am. Was it a complicated procedure? Could they have
It's
been
not.
taught that in a few weeks,
No,
in a few days?
It's not complicated because the station is a receiving station and a transmitting station at the same time. So when they receive, let's say, from a clustered precinct in Quezon,
What did they receive?
okay, they receive a signal,
Okay.
okay, for the entire clustered precinct, let's say, of Tagkawayan, Quezon.
Okay.
Okay, it enters into a receiving machine. Then the machine lights up, no, and then it says that it is already processed. And Senator Osmeña asked him, "What do you do?" "I press 2 buttons, sir." Then they disengage the CF card and transfer it to another machine beside it.
Okay.
The machine now, it seems, is a reconfiguration machine.
It reconfigures the data
Yeah, the
inside.
data inside.
Okay.
Okay? And in 25, 35 seconds, it's finished. They take out the CF card, brings it to the supervisor, and they go upstairs to the 4th floor, and they transmit it.
Okay.
Okay, now, so as I said, there is nothing in the law that says there is such operation. Because
Well,
the
it
law,
shouldn't be.
the law says from the precinct level, after you have closed it, it goes directly to the main server and to the transparency server.
Okay. This is really complicated. We'll be back. We need more time for this. Welcome back. You're still watching No Filter at ANC. Okay, now I was told when we were after we crafted this law and then there came the process of bidding it out, the project, I was told that each machine would be a standalone machine because people were worried that there would be other people who could connect to it.
Okay.
These are standalone machines.
Yes,
What
yes.
does that mean?
Okay, a standalone machine it was only designed to deliver 2 things: to receive the vote and to transmit the vote.
To what
And
place?
to the servers it
To the
is assigned to.
Okay.
Both transparency and to the main servers. Now, what Comelec has always been insisting, that it is impossible for it to be hacked from the outside.
Okay. Standalone nga eh.
What I am saying is, this was done from the inside. So who would know the sequencing formula, no, the source code, if not from the inside? Because the operation in Lucena was not a hacking operation. It was
An inside job.
a bypass inside job.
Okay.
And this was actually, Teddy, when I consulted Serge, you know what he was really very sad about was, this was the very fear. He said that I knew this was, sabi niya, susceptible to They bypass.
Well, I have to apologize to Serge because I remember during the deliberations on this bill, he suggested, and tell me if it was practicable what he suggested, that when the voting is finished, that first a copy should be printed out. Okay. And I said, yeah, that's going to go to the parties anyway. He said, no, parties go to sleep. Those people you hired, they're not there. He said, no, I want one copy printed and stamped to the wall, and somebody will take a picture, and we will buy, I don't know how many thousand little cameras. And I laughed. And I said, oh, come on. We all have friends in Hong Kong selling cameras. Is it one of yours? I made a joke out of it. But apparently he was right.
He was correct.
Supposing we had that feature. We take a photo of the returns on the wall. Would that have helped?
Yes, greatly, because that becomes now the election return that we have during manual voting, and now becomes now a basis for protest. Today you cannot protest.
In other words, the machine itself we can trust. It's when the transmission happens.
When the transmission happens, and when between the server and the source, there is a bypass.
Okay. I was told that in many obviously Duterte precincts and provinces, voters were just turned away or bought off. Now, you must agree with me that in manual elections, terrorism and vote buying, or goons and gold, are an essential feature, and we have learned to accept it. So if there were goons and gold to keep voters from automated voting, that is not the fault of automated elections. You agree with me? That's okay.
Correct.
That's acceptable, right? Cheating, I mean, buying and terrorizing. Where then can it go wrong? You've tried to explain some part of that. And what do your witnesses say about what went wrong? No one can tell if they are credible. Only the consistency of their testimony can show that. Besides, the Comelec itself is not credible. But have you tried to validate with other experts if what they say is a credible scenario for cheating?
Okay, as I said, no, different strokes for different folks. What happened in Mindanao is entirely the same old system of
Keeping them away.
guns, goons, and gold.
It's okay.
Okay. But in the greater part of the country, from northern Luzon all the way to western Visayas, no, southern Visayas, no, it's still the machine that matters. Now, the basic problem is this. We know that there must be what we call a side-by-side audit of the main server and the transparency server.
That's right.
Why? Because you can look at the time lag of transmissions and the source of the transmission.
Let me interrupt you here first. In 2010, the paper trail, was showing voting at 10 a.m., at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and then at 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. the next day.
Yes.
What does that show?
It shows that it did not come from the original source of transmission. It came late.
I thought it was just because they could still feed ballots even after the close of the polls.
No, when the precincts are closed, they said, the law says
No more.
it's closed.
Yeah. Oh.
So, okay, when you transmit, you cannot change the time lag. You transmitted.
Are you expecting to find that kind of evidence when you
Yes.
finally go into this?
Yes.
So you trust at least the machine to say, like for example in 2010 when there was cheating here in Makati, what came out was voting at 10 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. the following day. That at least will stay there.
The forensic will remain there.
Will remain. So you're confident about that.
I'm confident about
What if
that.
you don't find that?
Then, but they will still have to tell me what is the operation in Lucena doing, hauling all the votes in Southern Tagalog.
Okay. Do you have proof that there is an actual site in
Yes,
Lucena?
there is. I have the picture, I have the place, I know the owners, and we have the operators that operated on it for 2 nights.
And these witnesses, one is, why do they cover themselves? I don't think anybody will kill them. I mean,
You have to...
our politicians cheat, but they don't kill.
Okay,
That's
but
one thing. We're decent.
But you see, there is always that fear for their families. Like, and it happened already. 2 days ago, 2 were being forced to be picked up, no, at their homes. Okay, yeah, and it's good they were able to escape, no, and they're all now hidden in sanctuaries that we provide
By the
for
way, what
them.
about your safety?
Well, I have opened up and I have directly attacked the responsibility towards Smartmatic and Comelec.
Okay, there have been a lot of criticisms about you're doing this. They're saying one is just you're just a troublemaker. Perhaps your candidate didn't win. Could you? I'm sure you've come
Yeah,
across
okay.
this criticism. If you could
What
address
is
some
more
of them.
important is not the motive here, no? But the discovery. My motive is, okay, my candidate lost, but my partisan ended when I casted my vote. That's it. He lost miserably. Cheated miserably. We will find out. No, but at the end of the day, what is important is not my candidate or your candidate or anyone, but there is a violation of the law. Why was a bypass created which is not part and parcel of the automation law?
One of the reasons we went for automation was we said that in a manual system, the problem was you needed always to win by an overwhelming landslide to offset the vote, the cheating factor. We thought automation would end that. Has it ended that or aggravated it?
No. It aggravated it because in manual cheating, you cheat by retail. In automation,
okay.
you cheat by wholesale. We cannot even review it, the source code, and we cannot even...
Of course you can. I put that in the law.
It,
As long as you go to the central bank.
there is a law. Now, how many of it are followed? Now,
Okay.
when you say review, yes, you will review the source code. But there's also in your law that says you must test
Yes, of course.
after you review. Never done.
Well, you're supposed to test it, though. You're supposed to test it in the central bank itself.
Okay, and then...
Is that really so hard?
And then after testing it, you are also given the next step is a random, pre-audit, meaning
Okay.
2 weeks before election, they will raffle off which areas will be tested. So no one knows.
No one knows.
Okay. And that happened in 2010, Teddy.
Yes.
And it was discovered, you know what happened? 98% did not, give a positive result. I'll give you Makati, example. 20 votes went for Binay. 20 votes went for Mercado. 20 votes for Genuino. When they closed the machine and when they totaled, Binay 0, Mercado 0, Genuino 60.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and now, then that happened all over the country. So what did they do? They recalled all the CF cards. Naubusan ng CF cards sa Taiwan.
I remember that issue. They recall.
Okay, now, what happened pa? We did not close the 2010 election. We only canvassed up to 80%.
That's right, yeah. But I would have thought that the Comelec would have no interest except in clean elections. Well, in the Philippines, there are no losers, only the cheated. That is what the cheaters like to say. In the elections just passed, the results defied the respectable surveys. And so we get accusations of election fraud. Those accusations must all be met with respect. And the Comelec is duty-bound to address and not dismiss them. The Comelec is not entitled to a presumption of innocence, which applies only to the formally accused in criminal trials. In manual elections, the burden of proof was on the accusers because manual elections happen out in the open, where everybody can see if there was anything to see. But in the black box of automated elections, no one can see anything except the improbable results. Before you think I'm talking about Lenny, I am not singling her out. She was the best campaigner of all candidates on every level. But there was a rather large lead that she had to overcome. But then, a lot of voters make up their minds on election day. Still, the Senate race was a joke, and Duterte clearly won only because he so clearly won by a landslide. But even though he won, he could have been cheated. And the only one who can show us he was not is the Comelec. That is why I keep saying, an automated election system must be repeatedly audited before and after every election, and again, because we cannot see how we voted, if we actually voted, or did the machine just make it all up out of whole cloth. Boy, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Teddy, and thank you for giving the opportunity for us to at least give the little that we can explain to our listeners.
And this is just the beginning.